Respect is subjective. So like, I never felt really disrespected by people that I wanted respect from. And if it was just because they didn't know who I was. And then once I shown who I was, like, you go from there. So people that I look to and that I look up to and that I respect, I feel like I got their respect. And then all the people that don't really matter to me, like, it is what it is. They can feel however they want to feel. I hoop just for the love, man. It's something that's, I've had a desire to play basketball since I can remember. Earliest memories, 5 years old, playing in the driveway with my brother and watching him play, knowing that, my dad played, and developing a love for the game and just being outside and having fun and ultimately falling in love with getting better and learning new things. I've always loved to play the game. Now everything that comes with it, that's taking some time to adjust. As long as that fire never, dims in terms of your love for the game, the rest of that stuff becomes easy. But from day one, I just like hooping, I like playing, whether it was practice, games, just outside shooting, whatever the case may be. If I had a basketball in my hands, I was happy. Definition of toughness growing up is definitely a lot of players that you look to in the city, but for me it just came from my family. Like, to me, my mom was tough, seeing what she went through. My grandmother was tough, and my stepdad is tough. Like, those type of people have a great influence on your life that are closest to you, and it doesn't really have to translate to being the biggest, strongest person. It's just kind of like, how do you deal with things that come your way? For me, I think mental toughness just came with how I grew up. Losing my father at an early age kind of sped up my maturity process and made me grow up fast. And those things give you a great perspective on life. And so whether it's what you went through, your friends or your family members, like, we all, where I come from, we all seen a lot of things that kids shouldn't see. So that gave me a different perspective. So when I go play a game, it's always a game. And nothing that can happen within that game amounts to any of the real stuff that goes on in people's lives. When I was real young playing, I used to cry a lot. Like, if we lost or things wasn't going my way, I would get so mad that I would end up crying. And I eventually got over that as I got older, but I think for me it was always just losing. I hated losing. I hated looking like I was losing, and I hated, not looking, like my best self. Finally winning was like everything that you want and more. And in the moment in the game, you're so locked in. Like, once the final buzzer went off, you don't really know what's going on. You just kind of shell shocked. You just, we were on the road, so there was no confetti. Like, it was just kind of like a little dull moment where you're like, damn, did we really just do this? And then after, and do the champagne and, spend time with your teammates and your family. And man, it's a feeling that you can't explain. There's no words that can describe it, good enough. It's just like one of those euphoric feelings that it's like basketball heaven. I don't know. If you love the game and you love the sport, and you can imagine reaching the top of the mountain that you've been climbing since you was a little kid. For me, it was 5 years old, and I've been climbing for 20 years. And to finally reach that moment, the highest pinnacle that you could reach in front of the world is, I don't know, it's hard to describe the feeling. The most exciting part was beating Milwaukee and then in 6, and realizing that we are going to the finals to play the Warriors, who have been there, 4 or 5 times in a row. We know the dynasty that they've built. So I think it was just like a feeling that I've never felt before, in terms of just, we did this and we're going to battle, but like, for this moment in time right here, like, this is just a really exciting time. Driving from the arena, people in the streets, on the highway, like, they were already celebrating as if we had won, but it was like, yo, we still got to try to beat these guys. So that was probably the most exciting moment of it all. Obviously, the celebration is what it is. And then the most difficult part is just, being in the series, not playing as well as you feel like you can play. Also, playing time goes down, different things. So being in a slump, so to speak, but not being able to like express. People don't know the game how we know the game. So from the outside looking in, you say, oh, he's averaging 2 points, but you don't really know like the full background of what everything is going on. So that could be frustrating at times. At the end of the day, I'm always about the team first, and we were winning, so I knew that my opportunity would come later down the line. First things first, I wore and1 all through my childhood. Like, that's just number one. So, I mean, it's dope. Like, you think about the history of where it started and how it started. Like, if you really know the history behind it, then you have a different level of respect for it. And wherever the breakdown was along the way, like, this is kind of the rebrand, and I'm very happy to be a part of it and kind of setting a new trend. This will be a moment in time people will look back and say this is kind of like where people started to branch off and do their own things and really realize the power of themselves. I know there was a gap when it became like it wasn't cool no more, and you know, the opportunity presented itself. We've been talking for the last like two and a half years, maybe something like that, and they put a shoe in front of me. It was a great shoe. I loved it. And we just started talking through how we could make our partnership work. And it's finding a company that like believes in you and supports your vision and wants to give you a platform for your brand as well as pushing their brand. So it's just the opportunity for a partnership. The product is dope, and you know, I feel like I kind of align with what they stand for, and I feel like they support me and what I stand for. Just kind of like trend setting and you know, building your own brand and being powerful within yourself and building your team and like standing off to your own and thinking for yourself and not just being a sheep that runs to whatever, you know, is going on at the moment. And that's the funny thing about now is like when I first signed, everybody had jokes, you know what I mean, about the N1 because there's certain products that's in Walmart or whatever the case may be, but like if you line the shoe up across the board, you know, the shoe that I'm wearing, it stacks up with any of the major companies. You know, I want it all, man. There's nothing that I don't want to accomplish. If there's something out there that you could think of for a player to accomplish, I want to do it. And obviously there's ranking and there's different priorities, but you know, winning the championship is checked off, and you know, you can always win more and you can accomplish more and achieve more, and I'm not planning on stopping anytime soon.